I fell in love with Abby almost immediately when she was 10 years old. And I had thought about adopting her then. I was married at the time, but my husband was dying of cancer. So I didn't think it would be fair to bring a child into that situation. Abby, she went from foster care to treatment facility, and Misha and I would go visit her wherever she was, but lost track the last year and a half when she went through her failed adoption. So by the time they called me and said, "We have Abby here, will you take her?" It took me maybe a tenth of a second to realize that I would, because I always loved her. And somehow I just knew she was meant to be a part of my life. And when they said, "Well, by the way, she's 2 months pregnant," and I thought, what am I getting myself into? Can I handle this? And I thought, Abby and I can handle this together. And then the next day, when she arrived with the social worker, the boyfriend, Zach, came to me and said, "I really want to be responsible. I want us to graduate. I want to be there. Can I move in?" That took another second. But I thought, this would be support for Abby and actually support for me, because there'll be 2 of us helping out. So I thought, why not? It's the best memory, just the sound of them giggling and having fun together and planning their lives. 2 kids, basically. And they got themselves through school, and they got to doctor's appointments. They showed remarkable maturity. I'm so glad that they are leading a good life. I'll never forget being in the birthing room with Abby when Ryland was born, and Abby was in pain, and I was holding her hand, and she looked at me and said, "Help me." And I felt that helplessness, that I couldn't do anything to make it better, but that I could be there for her. And that feeling, I knew I was her mother. It's been 7 years since I adopted Abby, really. Zach, he graduated the year before Abby did. He went off to boot camp, and Abby did school. They were on base in Oklahoma for a couple of years. Then they're at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and they even bought their own house a couple of years ago. And they had Ryland, but now they have a daughter who's 4 years old. I just noticed the way she is with her kids. She has, I think, really developed as a parent.
I didn't think I would make a good mother because I did not have that kind of role model in my life. I think about how my life was. I would never, ever want my kids to have to deal with that. Ryland, he's 7 years old. He is the sweetest, most loving, but smartest. It gets him in trouble a lot and reminds me a lot of myself as a kid. And then there's Audrey, and she's also very sweet and very loving. Very, very almost opposite of what I was as a kid. She's kind of reserved, and that's definitely not me. She's very caring about everyone around her.
The Abby that I know now, especially in our relationship, she's a lot more open with me. She's learned a lot of self-confidence. She's going to nursing school. She's doing very well. She's learned to connect with more people. It's kind of mind-blowing watching someone so young be so resilient. That brings so much joy to my heart. I was diagnosed with MS when I was 38, so I didn't know I was ever going to be a mother. When she calls me now saying, "I'm having a hard time with something," and wants my help or wants to just talk, after all she's been through, she has the courage to open her heart and to love her children and to love her husband and to love me. There's such a need out there for good foster parents that really want to do this. You need to have a good support system because you don't know what these kids may have experienced. So you don't know what kind of support they may need. You need patience. They don't know what it's like to feel secure, to feel loved, to feel consistency. So you have to give time. These kids deserve a home. They need a home, and they deserve people to love them. Lots of people like Abby, they just need a place and love, and look what they can do. I remember this little 10-year-old that I met, when she didn't think you were looking, looked forlorn and sad. And when she did think you were looking, looked angry. And was so used to being bounced around from one place to another. Did I want her to call me mom right away? Sure, I would have loved it. But I knew that it was going to take years probably. And so I learned to be patient for that emotional connection. And that really paid off for both of us. I look at the woman that she's become, which is confident and making a life for herself, a good mom, a good wife. She's going to be a nurse. And she is definitely my daughter, and I'm definitely her mom. I think the biggest thing that Abby has taught me is about love. It's the most important thing in my life. When Abby told me that she wanted me to adopt her, and I realized she was going to be my daughter, it was just the biggest gift. And I've got this incredible family that is a family by choice. And it's not that I did something wonderful, it's that I got something wonderful. That's what this is about. Not me being some hero or being some wonderful person. It's about the enrichment of all of our lives, but I certainly feel enriched. That's what it's about.